What's up, guys? Jesse Klein here, Justin Klein from the Klein Real Estate team, and this is part 2 to our 2-part series on Vancouver's unaffordability. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, link in description, go check it out. We covered some super important stuff. We were establishing a fundamental valuation baseline for 3-bedroom townhouses in the Fraser Valley. What we came up with is that rents are $2,800 right now for a 3-bedroom townhouse. So a typical buyer, based on history and a ownership premium, which is about 10%, should be willing to pay $3,100, 10% premium over renting just on the mortgage payment, plus all their strata and property taxes and extra stuff. So what are the 2 things that determine this fundamental value? Number 1, the rental rate, which we talked about. Number 2 is interest rates, which is the largest expense that buyers have. So rents factor in population increases, supply constraints, economic growth, income growth. They're really the holy grail of real estate fundamental valuation, along with interest rates, of course. And they take all these things into account. So more people are moving in, rents are going up, people's incomes are going up, so rents are going up, and they're not building as much, so rents are going up. So all these things that you hear people talk about, like, oh, Vancouver real estate is gonna stay expensive because this and this and this and this, rents factor that in. So we can use rents to value real estate and say, hey, yes, it is worth this much, or no, it's not. It was just some kind of like crazy speculative bubble, which it might have been a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna talk about 3 scenarios where rents go this direction, interest rates go this direction, and what does that mean for where prices need to end up? Like we said, right now to buy a 3-bedroom townhouse in the Fraser Valley, it's $4,700 a month mortgage. It should really only be about 10% over the cost of renting, which puts it at $3,100. So it's about 33% overvalued right now. So what's gonna happen? What needs to change?
Yeah, so the 3 scenarios based on data, the fundamentals, not emotions. Vancouver only goes up real estate. We have to note that real estate prices are sticky. Sellers are very stubborn. This process isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take years for the market to sort itself out.
Yeah.
People who have to sell because of death, divorce, jobs can finally capitulate to low demand. We're not going to pretend to know what happens in the economy here. Nobody really does, no matter how confident they sound. The best we can really do is work out the possible and likely scenarios based on the information that we have from the data.
Yeah. So there's kind of like 3 macro camps out there. We're gonna talk about them. Now, I don't know if we really fall in any one of these camps. I kind of think macro predictions are like 50-50 at best. So our first camp here is persistent inflation. So this camp says, hey, look, Bank of Canada does not have control of the economy. Whoop-de-doo-dah, they raise interest rates to 2.5%, inflation's at 7-8%, it's gonna keep running hot, we can't do anything about it, debt levels are too high to actually combat it, and so inflation's gonna run hot 7%, let's say, per year for the next 3 years, rents go up 20% total in the next 3 years, and mortgage rates stay at 5%. Because we got to combat this inflation any way we can. So our $3,080 like fundamental value payment that buyers are willing to pay, which is 10% over rents, because rents went up 20%, this fundamental value payment went all the way up to $3,700. And so that's kind of our target payment that we're willing to pay. Now, interest rates are still 5%. So at a 5% interest rate and a $3,700 payment, what price does that equal? $650,000. Justin, talk about our next macro camp.
Yeah, number 2, economic destruction. So if inflation cools but rate increases hurt the economy, so the Bank of Canada slashes rates again and mortgages go back to 2.5%. The economy is hurting, so rents fall 10%. Now, if rents fall 10%, we're going to take 10% off that $3,080 monthly payment. So we're looking at about just under $2,800 monthly payment number to hit. $635,000 is the price that gets us to that mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Even with the lower 2.5%, that's not a great scenario for prices whatsoever.
So again, the difference in this scenario from the last one is rather than rents going up, rents go down. Yeah. Rather than rates staying the same, the rate actually goes down, but we still end up around that mid 600s number, unfortunately, simply because it's tough to escape that mortgage rate math, and then rents going down as well. Rates aren't 1.6% anymore. So the third scenario, thread the needle. This is the camp that's like the Bank of Canada is smart. They know what they're doing. They're just going to nail this. And so it's bullish. They think that raise rates just the perfect amount, and now we're cooling the economy, which it does look like we are. Inflation seems to be slowing, but we're going to slow inflation now. We're going to get it under control, and then at the precise time, Bank of Canada is going to know when to cut rates and stimulate the economy again, so we don't slip too far into a deflation period and an economic recession. We skip that. So we kind of end up with like inflation back near like 3-4%, kind of manageable, maybe even 2%. And rates back to like the 12-year average of 2.5% for real estate mortgage rates. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So 3 years from now, rents are up 10%. Our mortgage payment would have to be around $3,400 a month, that 10% premium. And then that would, at 2.5% interest rates, that pegs our price at $780,000, which is the price that buyers could pay to line up that premium. So not too far off where we are right now.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't know, not bad. I think any of those could happen. I really think so. And again, these numbers we're using are examples. Rents could end up going up 30%. They could end up going down 20%, which would be a lot. That's pretty rare, but it could happen. But these are kind of likely, probable numbers that we used.
And I hope it wasn't too confusing. We wanted to illustrate how real estate is fundamentally valued. People in Vancouver have this habit of throwing up their hands, blaming prices to foreign investors, immigration, land constraints. And while all these play a role, they mostly show up in rent prices. So we can work backwards from that, like we did in the previous video. Yeah. And, since 1980, this method of valuation has actually worked extremely well for Vancouver real estate.
Yeah.
The valuations have blasted up to the stratosphere at times, 1981, 1994, 2007, 2017, 2022. But it always comes back to the earth within a few years, so that those payments are then again lined up with rents.
That's right. There's always been, long term is about that 10% premium. Of course, that fluctuates. Sometimes it goes way bigger. Like right now, it's a 50% premium, but that always corrects. Either rates go up, rates go down, rents go up, or prices come down. One of those three has to happen. You cannot escape it. Sales are half right now of what they normally are, and that's because this math just doesn't work anymore. Something has to give. That is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And what gives? We don't know. It's going to be one of those three. It's probably going to be a little bit of all of them. How long is it going to take to sort itself out? We don't know. It could be next year. Probably not. Likely a few years at least. Historically, peak to trough, 7 years for a Vancouver real estate cycle. These cycles happen about once every 15 years. 15 years, 7 years, and then 0 years is your peak again. So
yeah. I mean, just one last illustration, really to tie it all together. Last summer when everyone said the market was crazy, it was we're buying a townhouse for
because right now you guys are probably thinking like, what are they talking about? Prices went nuts last year. You guys know what they're talking about. 2019 fundamental value, clearly not. COVID it went another 80%. Well, why, Justin?
It actually did make sense.
It did.
And interest rates were 1.6%. What was the peak?
1.6%.
Yeah, you buy $725,000 townhouse, your payment was just under $2,850 a month.
It's cheaper than renting it last summer.
Yeah,
you could go into a bidding war, pay $150,000 over asking, beat 10 other buyers subject free, and it was still cheaper than renting that same townhouse last summer.
Yeah,
that's why prices went so nuts. I bought a townhouse myself last summer because I ran the numbers, and I was like, why the heck would I rent when I can buy this thing for less?
Yeah,
not the case now. Buying is now 50% more than renting.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our links in the description below. You can see sold prices nearby, and look at the last video. Like, subscribe, please. Love the support for the YouTube algorithm, and so that we can keep you guys updated. And you can subscribe to our email list as well. Follow me on Twitter, Jesse_Klein. Get all the details there. Fast as they run through my brain.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. See you next time.